that close to giving up this week, but I've made some commitments and I'm going to try and get this done. Major computer problems. I don't even know if I'm going to get this done yet because I still have to edit all this on my laptop, which is literally just a pile of mismatched parts. So we'll see what happens. In any case, Top 3 Tuesday, assuming this video makes it. I'm Ed, and these are the people that posted video responses last week. Kit171, Heather Mason 76, Thrift Dweller, Michael B. the Game Genie, Will Graham 13, Sega and More, Andrew's Game Display, Vestibule, and Electric Adventures. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Not quite as many responses last week as there have been in weeks past, but I think it's because the question was a little bit perplexing to some. There were a few people that said they would have liked to have done responses, but didn't quite know how to respond to the question. And because I'm not doing this in the basement, my cat has come to visit. Alright, this week we have Shenmueso, who, again, one of my favorite channels, a channel that I try never to miss. He puts a lot of feeling into his videos. You can tell when he's talking about something that he's genuinely passionate about it, and this is why I stopped filming up here. And here he is.
Hi, this is Shenmueso on the Ed209 channel with the, what? EDT1138. What's cool about that? Whatever, it's a Top 3 Tuesday. Mine's going to be Top 3 peripheral LED games. So this is any game that uses a controller that isn't the normal one that's packaged with the system. Now, it doesn't have to be a game that only works with a peripheral. I mean, most games have the option of using the normal controller or the dedicated, new toy. So, this is light gun games, this is music games, dancing games, anything that attaches to the remote, Kinect, PS3 Move, driving games with the steering wheels, any game that you've loved. Top 3 that have used a peripheral kind of thing. Because, I mean, video games, the thing that separates it from all other mediums is this interactivity. That helps with the immersion kind of side of video games. And they do this sometimes with giving you new toys to play with. And I've liked a few of them in the past. I mean, they usually end up, in the corner somewhere gathering dust or underneath a bed somewhere. But whilst you're playing them, you love them, and it just gives that unique experience, that unique immersion that you just can't get in other forms of entertainment. So, Top 3 peripheral LED games. My number 3, Samba de Amigo on the Sega Dreamcast. Oh yeah, the original and best. It's since been converted onto the Wii and other platforms as well. But if you know anything about it, you'll know it's just these two maracas that you get, and you shake it to the beat of the music, and it's basically a rhythm action game. Brilliant for parties, brilliant after a few drinks, as most peripheral LED games are. It pioneered a kind of motion sensing technology way before the Wii did, with a sensor bar that detected where your movements were, and you just played along, and it's just so much fun. Very collectible game as well for the Dreamcast. Glad to have this in your collection. So number 3, Samba de Amigo. Number 2 is a game that I don't have with me right now. It's something I enjoyed a few years ago, and that was the Dancing Stage Megamix games on the PlayStation. Now, and on the original Xbox. Now, dancing games, I used to have a dance mat. I used to really love these games, got well into them. That probably wasn't appreciated too much by the people living below me at the time, but really fun. I love to dance anyway, so that was a natural kind of game for me to enjoy. Unfortunately, a lot of the tracks were a bit naff, but that didn't really matter. You seem to enjoy it regardless anyway, and I wasn't shy to play those games out in the arcades as well. So yeah, I mean, a very good game for the inner extrovert, although that seems like a contradiction of terms. Yeah, so dancing stage games, number 2. But my number 1 of all time peripheral LED game is Rock Band. And I'm going to show you Rock Band 3 as the example, because this one kind of updated the idea and added the compatibility with these new improved instruments that are basically almost exactly like real instruments in the level of control you have over them. There's nothing better after a few beers with a mate round, and it's just nothing better than pretending you're rock stars in your living room. Crank the volume up, put Rock Band on, and it just is so brilliant. Such a unique experience. Again, something that can't be conveyed on a joypad, although the game allows you to play it on a joypad. You need the instruments. I love Rock Band games. Now, people say, you know, just why don't you just get a real guitar? I mean, why don't you just learn a real instrument? Yes, I have a real guitar. I'm not very good at it. It's a lot harder. In fact, if I ever get around to getting the Pro guitar on Xbox version of Rock Band, it'll probably teach me how to play guitar better than any tutorials that I've tried to follow. But that's not what it's about. It's about fun, it's about immersion, it's about a unique experience that only video games can provide, and peripheral-led games help do that, I think. So that's my top 3 peripheral-led games. Number 3, Samba de Amigo on the Sega Dreamcast. Number 2 is the Dance and Stage Megamix games with the dance mats. And number 1 is Rock Band, primarily number 3. So leave a comment or a video response telling me your top 3 peripheral-led games. Now they could be 3, they could all be light gun games. It doesn't matter, your top 3 games that have involved using a controller that was not the regular packaged controller for the system. So that's my picks, and let's see yours, Ed. Back to you.
Alright, since Shenmueso decided to take up over 5 minutes, we're going to try and make this one a little bit faster than normal. I broke mine down first by deciding which peripherals were my favorites. And then I picked my favorite games for those peripherals. And then I picked my favorite games of that group, and this is what I came up with. This is actually going to be in a video for somebody else, and I hope this doesn't screw up that video, but it ended up as my number 3, and it's Warlords. Warlords is for the Atari 2600. It was an arcade game first, but I like the version on the Atari 2600 actually better than the arcade version. It's played with paddle controllers. You can play up to 4 people using the paddle controllers, and with as few as 1 playing against 3 computers. And essentially what you do is you've got 4 castles in the corners, in the 4 corners, and there are warlords in there, and you have a shield that you move around the castle, and you reflect a cannonball that's flying at you. And you can play different versions of the game where you catch the cannonball and, you know, throw it in whatever direction you want, or where you reflect it and then you can curve it as it's flying. All kinds of different versions. I love this game. This is probably my favorite game on the Atari 2600, very closely following Asteroids. So maybe this is number 2, but it's close. So, paddle controllers, Warlords, number 3. Number 2 had to be a Sega Light Phaser game. I love my Light Phaser. It is far more, well, I shouldn't say far more accurate. It is more accurate than the Light Zapper for the NES. And my favorite game on the Master System is Gangster Town. Those of you that have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that Gangster Town is one of my favorite games. Essentially, you shoot gangsters. Not only do you shoot gangsters, but as their little angels are floating up towards heaven, you can shoot the angels and send them to hell. And that is just too cool. So, Gangster Town is number 2 with the excellent Sega Light Phaser. I would imagine that not many people will be surprised to find out that my number 1 choice uses the Sega Master System 3D glasses. I love these things, one of the favorite things in my collection, and the game that is my favorite is Space Harrier 3D. I haven't actually had this game long, it's going to be part of my future Sega pickup here, but I love Space Harrier. Even though it's not as good on the Master System as it is on the Genesis, I still love it. It was the first place I played Space Harrier. So, great game. And then being able to play it in 3D, in my mind when I was a kid, made it even better. And to this day, it still holds a lot of nostalgic value for me. And that might be why it's number 1. But still, great game. It's in 3D. Can't really beat that. So, Space Harrier 3D with the 3D glasses would be number 1. If I had to pick a runner-up, it would be Missile Defense 3D, which uses the 3D glasses, and the Sega Light Phaser. So there you go. Hopefully this video will be less than 10 minutes. We'll see. Check out shenmueso. Great guy. Like I said, one of my favorite channels. He puts a lot of thought and feeling into his videos, and I don't know, it makes it really fun to watch the stuff that he does. Does all kinds of different videos. Yeah, that's about all I'm going to say about him. Check him out. Great guy. Thank you very much for watching.